How's it going, gents? Stand in the Door 1944. Today we're going to be going over one of the most hated pieces of kit in World War II reenacting, the gas detection brassard. Let's get into it. Before we get into today's video, be sure and like and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in any of the products being featured in today's video, be sure and visit our website at standinthedor1944.com. We do want to start one of the practical demonstrations that we're going to be doing to show exactly how tough these gas brassards are from Stand in the Door 1944. And to do that, we're going to take this and we're going to submerge this in this little bucket of water here. And that's going to be there for the majority of the video. And by the end, you'll be able to see just how tough it is, even after being soaked in water. One quick detail I did want to point out about this 29th Infantry impression here is the assault jacket that's being used, which was a very common piece of kit being used by first wave troops in Normandy. That this particular assault jacket is OD3 in color, and though there are original examples that are OD3, most of the original photographs that you're seeing from both Omaha and Utah Beach are actually showing more troopers wearing OD7 assault jackets. So if you're looking to put together an infantry impression, OD7 is going to be more historically accurate than the OD3 that you see pictured here. But anyways, back talking about the gas detection brassards. The gas detection brassard was one of those iconic pieces of Normandy era kit. And the reason for that is because nearly everybody who was involved in the invasion was issued at least one of these brassards. In fact, everyone who was issued one of these black rubberized assault gas mask bags, which is so iconically seen being used by both infantry and paratroopers, there was actually not just a gas mask inside that bag, but there was several other pieces of gas mask related equipment, maintenance equipment and such, but there was also two of these gas detection brassards that were folded up inside that bag. Now the use of the paper brassards does vary from unit to unit. You can even see, even down at the battalion level, a difference between one battalion wearing them and one battalion not. But rule of thumb, more often than not, you're going to be seeing troopers that are in Normandy actually wearing those paper brassards. Now one of the critical flaws with these gas brassards is that they were made very cheaply. They were literally just pieces of paper that were painted with what's called a vesicant paint. It's a chemical reactive paint. So as these were being worn, if they would come in contact with poisonous gas such as mustard gas, they would change color. They would change to like a reddish burgundy color. Now the problem with these brassards being made of paper is that paper is obviously a very flimsy material that's not waterproof. So as soon as these would get wet, yes, the vesicant paint on the outside would help protect them and keep them together a little bit, but the untreated paper on the back of these brassards, as soon as it would become wet, it would become very, very easy to rip. So as soon as these troopers hitting the beach would get in the ocean, or as soon as it would rain while they were in Normandy, as soon as they would get wet, these would start to deteriorate rather quickly. This is actually a really good detail that they captured in Saving Private Ryan, because at the very beginning of the film, you see all the troopers in the Higgins boats have a gas detection brassard on their right shoulder. As they move up the beach, and then later on in the movie, as they move days into the invasion, these gas detection brassards have gone and deteriorated all the way down to where they're just a little scrap of paper left with a fabric loop by the time you reach the end of the movie. So that was a really good detail that they captured. However, the problem with this with World War II reenacting is these can be kind of expensive. Whenever you're looking online to find these, you're going to see them for anywhere between $10 and $20. And the problem is because these are made of paper, as soon as you take them out for your first event, it's almost guaranteed that these are going to get thrashed. Now, for some events, that can be okay. If you're doing a D+2 or a D+3 or anything beyond that, you know, having this little scrap of paper with the fabric loop on it hanging off your shoulder, that's 100% accurate. However, because so many World War II reenactments are taking place during especially public events, are taking place pre-invasion and or they're taking place in the very initial phases of the invasion, everyone's going to be wearing these gas detection brassards. So the problem is you're dumping $10, $15 a pop on these things, and they keep falling apart on you, and you have to go and buy more. So it really is just like a really bad money pit situation. Now, some companies have gone and tried to fix that problem by making their brassards out of fabric. And although that is a really good idea, I really applaud these companies to try and make products that really last for their customers. The problem with using these fabric brassards is they don't look like paper. So if you look at original photographs, you see very early on that as soon as these brassards start to be worn, they immediately start to wrinkle. And then definitely a day or so after being worn, these things are absolutely wrinkled to pieces. And so the problem with these fabric brassards like that is as soon as you put it on, is it just always looks like painted fabric. It doesn't look like paper. Even if you try to wrinkle it, it immediately flattens back out and it doesn't look anything like paper. Now, one of the other problems that you find in reproduction gas brassards is they don't make them in the proper shape. In many cases, you're going to see the height on them is much stumpier. It's much shorter than a real gas detection brassard. And then also on the back of it, it's a totally different shape. This does affect how the gas detection brassard is actually worn on the sleeve. Whenever they're not cut properly like this, they tend to bow out on your arm and they stick out from your arm and it looks kind of off. And then to make it worse, so many of these reproduction brassards, the fabric loops that they have on the top are far too short. So whenever they're being worn up on the epaulets of your jacket, they stick out like that off of your arm, which just isn't historically accurate. If you look at any original photograph of a trooper wearing a gas detection brassard, and they don't look like that. They really hug the arm, they really stay in close to the arm. So what we want to do at Stand in the Door 1944 is we wanted to create a product that was not only as historically accurate as we could possibly make it, but one that was going to be absolutely tough, that is going to hold up to a whole lot of reenactor use. So it gives you more bang for your buck. Now, for the reproduction brassards that we make at Stand in the Door 1944, the first thing that we wanted to tackle was actually getting the correct pattern. So we reached out to our good friend Mark Bando, and we were able to actually pull dimensions off of one of his originals. So we were able to make a 1-for-1 scale match between the two. In addition to getting the pattern 100% correct, we also wanted to be sure that we had the proper length loop. So these loops are obviously really critical, particularly for M42 jumpsuits, where the epaulet starts a little further up the shoulder. These needed to be the correct length, otherwise they just don't look proper on a uniform. So after we tackled getting the actual pattern 100% correct, we went off and we started to work on the paint color. So the paint color was one of the more difficult aspects of this particular project, because as we would take a brassard in to get a paint sample pulled off at Lowe's or in multiple paint stores that we went to, whenever they would do a laser pull off of it with the computer, is the paint color that would come out was not a 1-for-1 match. It would always be off a couple shades. It would either be too light or too dark. So what we ended up having to do is doing a color pull off of a brassard on the computer, and then we had to go through and we had to manually start mixing paint. I can't tell you how much paint we had to mix together to finally get the proper color of vesicant paint. We were going for a very specific shade, and it has turned out absolutely beautifully. By far, one of the most important parts of this build was finding the proper material. We wanted to find a material that looked like paper and that wrinkled like paper, but was so much stronger than paper. And after 2 or 3 months of searching high and low, we finally found the right material for us. So as you can see, fresh out of the box, your brassard is going to look like this. It's going to be nice and flat. But then whenever you go and you wear it, or before you wear it, you take it and you wrinkle it up like this. It wrinkles up and looks exactly like paper. But at the same time, as you take it out into the field, it's not going to be nearly as easy to rip. So as we're pulling on this material, it is exceptionally difficult for it to actually come apart, which was our primary goal for this particular project. Not only is it very difficult to rip, it's also waterproof. So this has been in this for about 15 minutes or so since we started filming this video. And as you can see, it's just as strong as the dry material right here. So we really feel like we captured something very, very special with this particular product, because not only do we have a product that matches the actual pattern, matches the color of an original brassard, but is also as tough as nails. So whenever you go and you purchase this product, you can buy with confidence knowing that it's going to last longer than any other brassard on the market. Now, Don't go ahead and throw away your paper brassards as soon as you get one of these. Go ahead and take those and rip a little tab off of it, leaving that fabric loop on there. And what you can do is whenever you're taking part in a D-Day reenactment, you can go ahead and wear the full gas detection brassard. And then whenever you're taking part in an event that's supposed to be D+1 or D+2, you can go ahead and switch out and just have this hanging off your epaulet, and you're going to be most historically accurate you can be for that particular event. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.